Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's time for another ArtsyTrio collaboration with Bea over in Switzerland and Gina over in Portland in Oregon. So this month it's Gina's turn to put the mood board for the ArtsyTrio challenge together. So let me turn over to my overhead camera, I'll show you the mood board and I'll talk through what I'm going to do. So this is mood board number 21, curated by Gina in Portland in Oregon. So as you can see, Gina's done quite a few blue kind of greeny tones in this one today. So I believe this is a photograph of Gina's husband walking the dog. And I think this one probably is a piece of art that Gina has done herself, like watercolour art. The rest, that's, I believe, some like utility covers, like manhole covers we call them here in the UK, surrounded by moss on a bank. We have some ferns, Lucille Ball, good quote. You've got a drain cover, some flora, a stylised photograph of what looks like to be a coastal scene, sky and the sea there. But it was this one, this image that Gina had done, I think, for a project of her own, which caught my eye. I kind of like that because just purely by accident, I'd been looking at an image like this quite recently, and I thought this kind of loose watercolory kind of effect kind of fits in, because you've got those blues and those kind of colours in there as well, a little bit of green, a little bit of blue in the background. So I thought I would have a play at maybe trying to recreate something, I'm not saying something as good as this, in my big 12 by 12 art journal, which I'm coming to the end of. So let me just zoom out just a little bit. There we go. And I'll just try and make sure that we are focused on my paper. So let me just, I think that's focused in. So what I've done is I've just taken a pencil really quickly and I've just done a rough kind of pencil sketch outline of the kind of flower that I want to create. And I have my Japanese Gansai Tambay, I believe they're pronounced, watercolour set, as you can see. Yeah, I hardly ever use them. I mean, they're starting to dry out, but I've hardly ever used them really. Look, there's that beautiful, there's a couple of metallics down there. So I'm hopefully going to use these today. And I'm going to use my worktop here as a palette as well. So, and I'm going to try and do a bit of wet on wet. So first things first, I've got a brush, a bit of water down there. And then I'm going to take that really kind of sky bluey colour, really kind of loose watercolour, and I should have kept one of these pots clear, but never mind. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add or flood the area I want to add the colour to, and it doesn't actually matter that much. I've got a bit of colour in this bit. And I'm just following the outline. Right, now I'm going to take some of that watercolour and I'm just going to drop it in. And then just let it do its thing. The thing with watercolours is that they do tend to do their own thing. Now while that's still wet, refine the edges with my brush just a little, bring it in there a little bit, around there. So while that's still, I'm going to just grab a little bit of darker colour, a little bit darker blue. Actually, that's not quite as dark as I thought, it's a lot bluer. And just drop that in. Okay, so now I'm going to move on just down here, pull that water around a bit. Again, just grab a bit, pull it under, work it down, and this time I'm going to grab some green. Because we've got green in that mood board. Bring that down there. A bit more of that green. Darker. So let's get more water. And just let it pool. Just let it pool towards the end. Just blend it a little bit. Just grab that a bit more. And while that's still wet, I do want to try and introduce a little bit more of a darker colour. So let's come down here. That's more like it. Just add some washes of a darker colour in there. Not a huge amount. And then just let that do its thing. Okay, now then, I did have a tissue, or some tissues, there we are. So I'm not by any means a trained watercolourist, as anybody who's done it will tell you, because I'm not doing it very well, but I just wanted to have a play. I think last month I did a kind of brusho watercolour, or brusho effect kind of thing. So I thought this time we'll do something a bit different. Right, let's see if we can get that dried. Okay, so that's that little bit done. So I'm going to turn my paper around, and I'm going to do this little section at the top here as well. So like I said, I'm just going to work the water around where I want it to be. Now this is not watercolour paper as well. This is just ordinary kind of, this art journal is a scrapbook journal. So it's meant for sticking and gluing and that kind of stuff. So again, so let's grab a little bit of that dark blue over here and just let it drip and fall. So I'm just going to lift up the pad so that water will just kind of dissipate and drop down. So a bit more water there. So let's see if we can encourage a few drips, a few runs. So while we're at it, let's get a little bit of black. So the water's kind of stopping where I stopped painting with the brush. So if I now add a bit more water to it, it'll flow down. But it'll stop again, kind of where we were. So a bit more of that black, get a bit watery. And then just add a bit more water to it. The beauty of using this kind of paper is that it dries really, really quickly. There we go. And again, get rid of that. get the heat gun on it and turn it around so you can see where we've got to. There we go. Okay, so let me just zoom out a little bit further so you can see the full page. So we've got that really nice kind of watery, mottly effect there. So now we're going to work on this section here. So again, I've got a bit of dirty water, but that's okay. I'm keeping that kind of muted sort of colour palette going now. And I'm just going around that section and filling that in. So this time I'm going to grab some green and we'll start dropping that green into there. Just let it flood. So another green colour, darker green. So that's on top. I'm just sort of following the line, my sketchy pencil lines that I did earlier. Come back into the water. Now I can start to join those sections up. I don't want to work too far ahead because it'll start soaking into the paper and I won't get it's not wet enough. So let's go over here, just dab it in, let it flow, just like that. We'll go up to a little bit more water to it. And now we'll come across to this side and then it'll be able to track across because it's now wet, so we can now let it run. And I'm going to re-wet this top section up here and then grab some of that almost like a dark brown again. Oh, it's purple. Ooh, no, we don't want that. That's the problem with these colours. I think I picked the wrong one up. There we go. That's better. Let's get some of that brown murk in here as well. And then I'm going to try and encourage it to run. Let's get a decent amount of that brown going. There we go. Okay, so I think we'll encourage that to dry now. Okay, so we've got that really kind of wishy-washy, that was still wet down there, that really kind of wishy-washy background. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swap brushes, and I think I'm going to change my water, so I'm going to go get rid of that and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've changed my water, so I'm going to start working on the flowers now. So this is clean water, so I'm going to start just down towards the bottom and I'm painting an entire petal, so it's all going to be wet. And I've got my other brush. I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre, just put it down there, and then drop that in. Okay, so next one I'm going to do over here. And I can see that it's soaking straight away practically into the paper. So let's get some clean, just work that. I'm working with two brushes. That's better. Darker in that middle part, and then I'll just clean off that other brush. Grab some orange, drop that down. There we go. And then I'm going to start painting. Pick up that orange, drop that into the middle, and then we'll just let that, encourage that to go. Okay. Clean water again, we'll go over this side. Nice colour wash water. And then, oh, I've used the wrong water again. That's always the problem. Okay. Fancy doing that. We're a prong. Right. Fill that, and then pick up that orange, and then just let that sit. And that's, just encourage that to come over here. Bit of that orange. Okay. And I'm working really quickly, so that's why I'm using the heat gun. Right, I'm going to try and pick up darker colour, so almost like a tomato-y. I want to make it quite watery. There we go. And then just get rid of that. A little bit more kind of water at this side. And that's got a little bit of a tinge of that kind of tomato-y red in there. A little bit of that orange there, just to kind of blend it a little bit, and then grab some more of that tomatoey orange. Right, let's grab some more of that. Pick a little bit more up, and then just around that middle section, and just let it do its thing like that. Okay, get that dried. Right, so I'm going to flip the journal over and pretty much carry on with what I've been doing. And I've decided that actually these are fairly light colours, so it doesn't really matter too much. If I'm using water, that's just got a little bit of a tinge to it. So yeah, so let's grab that yellow ochre. Drop it in. Grab a little corner of my paper. Just like that. And then while that's still wet, grab some of that tomatoey orange. There we go. Okay, so that's nice and dry, so I'm going to flick it back over again, and then this water's getting more and more orangey, isn't it? But that's okay. I'm going to abandon the whole clean brush thing. Right, so I've discovered with this paper, if you wet it, leave it for it to soak in, and then go back again with some more water, it tends to sit on the surface more, which is cool. So grab that yellow ochre, some more water, and then we can just start flooding again. Okay, so there's a little bit too much in there, so I'm going to grab my tissue and just start taking some out of the top. That'll do. And then I can just reintroduce some of that water just to kind of blend it down a little bit. And while it's still wet, a teeny bit of that tomatoey colour, and just feed it. Hello, Mr. Nip. Mr. Nip's just been for a walk, so he's just come to see me, just to let me know he's come back. Hello, baby. Are you all tired? Oh, he's laid out on the floor. Must have been tired. Ian must have absolutely worn him out. That's one of my favourite things about doing watercolours, is that when you've flooded an area, that the pigment goes to the outside of that flooded area, and that's when you get that kind of ridgy line. Love that. Love that effect. Alright, so like I said, this is just my way of doing watercolours. I've never been trained. Nobody's ever given me a day's instruction in my life, and I'm just doing it the way that I like the effect. Whether, you know, watercolour instructors would scream at me is a different matter altogether. They probably would. But you know what? I don't really care, because I'm enjoying myself. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm enjoying myself, that's all that blooming well matters. Okay, let's just take a little bit of that out, because I want that a little lighter. Oh dear, was that a sneeze? Was that a little sneeze out, Mr. Oh dear. Is a sneeze in? Poor lad. Oh, here comes FOMO. Hello, Bentley. Yeah. Hello, Bentley. You come to see your brother? You can hear him panting. Right, so let's introduce some of that tomatoey orange again, or tomatoey red, just down at the bottom. Okay, that's all the colour I'm going to introduce, then I'm going to just flick with my brush. Oh, excuse you. There we go. Right, let's dry that off. And move on to the next one. Oh, brush is upside down. Okay, so this time I'm going to be really careful about putting the water down that side and work my way around the paper's wrinkling a little bit with the amount of water, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got water in there now, so that's kind of flooded. So let's go back to that yellow ochre. And then just dab it so it's really kind of light. And then while we can, a little bit of the tomato red. There. Okay, there we have it. One really kind of abstracty, really watercolory flower head. So I need to get a smaller brush now because I'm going to start doing that stem. Here we go. So actually let's do the leaves first. So let me flood that area with the water. And I'm going to grab some yellow and a little bit of green. It's a bit wowy, but that's okay. I want to be able to differentiate. And then, while we can, just grab some more of that darker green. Bit more yellow. Just loosely. That'll do. And then flood that other leaf. I'm trying to just push the paper down a little bit because it is starting to buckle. Okay, so let's grab some of that yellow again. and the green. And I want it to be different enough from the background. Okay. Let's get the heat gun on it. Okay, that was pretty quick. So it's fairly dark here. So let me just grab some water. And I'm going to just work it. There we go. We'll get a little bit of that dark green up at the top. There we go. And I like that. You like it lotsy. Right, okay. So let's dry that a little bit off. It really doesn't take a long time. Right, so in the middle there, let me just flood that a little bit. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this kind of reddy brown colour, almost a terracotta-y colour. We'll just add that in. And then towards the centre, I think I'll just add a few. We need a few little splatters in there, don't we? I know. Do. Okay, let's get that dried. There we go. It's still a little bit wet in places, but that's okay, don't mind that. So let me just have a quick tidy up, get rid of some of the water, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so everything's pretty dry now. I don't think there's any more of that black that's still wet. So a lot of people would just probably leave it there and walk away from it and say, right, okay, I've done a watercolour flower, abstract tea. It's kind of very loose. But there are others that would now go in there and just define those lines a little bit with a black pen, kind of scribbly style, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Catherine Cote style. Now I started, I cut my teeth with art journaling back in the day, watching CC's creations, marvellous kind of like art journal pages, and I know these days she's gone on to more kind of watercolory style, and that's great. You know, she's found a niche, which is brilliant. So, you know, that's absolutely brilliant. Very nice lady. Okay, so I'm going to loosely just follow that kind of sketch drawing that I did to start off with. And then just make it loose. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be realistic, photorealistic. That's not the aim. The aim is to have some blooming fun while you're doing it, and hopefully by the time you've finished you may have actually created something beautiful. With any luck. And then you can start having a bit of fun. In the middle. And I'm going to call it a day at that. So let me just try and find, what did I do with the original mood board? I've put it down somewhere. There it is. So that was Gina's original mood board, and I've kind of gone for some of those colours that we've seen in there. Just that, I think that's a streetlight reflection. Then we've got some greens, some blues, and some warmish colours in there as well. So that, I think, was highly enjoyable. So I'm going to sign that, and I've actually got no idea what date is it today. 30th, 31st, yeah, I'll just take a punt, put the 30th. There we go. So that is my ArtsyTrio number 21, mood board number 21, as curated by Gina Ahrens. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create my watercolory, abstracty, kind of flowery art journal page. If you have, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. But also don't forget, there are links in the description area below to Bea's video over on her YouTube channel, and also Gina's video over on her YouTube channel, and you can see what they've both done using the same mood board that I have there. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.